all together? Yes, no? We can't steal research triangle. It's already been taken. We kept thinking, how can we divine? Well, what we're actually, and some of you may, be really aware of this and others less. So the 7 emerging research universities are UT Dallas, UT Arlington, UNT, UT San Antonio, UT El Paso, University of Houston, and Texas Tech. Those are the 7. And they are in the tier right below A&M and UT. All of us have the potential to move, to get the research, to graduate the number of PhDs, to reach the level where we too can have the label of National Research Universities, which really means usually about $100 million a year in research dollars, over 200 graduate PhD students a year. Some of us, we have over 200 PhD students. We're not close to $100 million a year in research dollars. Other institutions are very close to the research dollars, but they're not graduating 200 PhDs a year. So there's an imbalance that's out there, which means we all have sort of that opportunity to move forward. And we're hoping that even if there is not funding available in the legislature this year, that there will be a framework established that when funding comes back, and we know it will, that there will be already established. And we're looking at, there's a lot of legislation out there right now, a lot of talk, Lieutenant Governor, the governor talking about that dual responsibility we have. It's always there. We need to contribute to economic development in the state of Texas, but we also need to educate the students, and they really are the same thing. If we educate students, we will ultimately contribute more to economic development. So we can't ignore one for the other. We can't say teaching is more important than research or vice versa. It has to work in tandem. And so I'm hoping that the kind of legislation we'll see is legislation that will continue to reward us with incentives, which we, UNT was fortunate last year. We actually got, a very nice check from the state of almost $5 million of incentive money because of what we've done to educate students, particularly first-generation students, community college transfer students, and students in needed areas of science and engineering. We don't have nursing. Nursing's another area that is rewarded with incentive money. That's one piece of it. The other piece then is matching funds to support the kinds of activities that really engage us in more research, bring companies to us, and support our research mission. So both of those things need to work together. I'm hoping we see legislation that will do that.
There was a question there. Yes.
Yes, I'm just wondering if UNT is still pursuing a law school. How does that fit into one desire to move to research level university?
Well, the University of North Texas system includes the campus in Denton, the Health Science Center in Fort Worth, the campus in Dallas that just reached the threshold of 1,000 students, so it will be able to become a standalone university. And the system office is pursuing a law school that will report to the system office, will not report to Denton. And ultimately, as the Dallas campus grows, will be part of the Dallas campus. It will be a downtown law school. And yes, we are still pursuing it, and we certainly hope that this legislative session, that movement will be successful, but it will not be part of the Denton campus. And so it will be part of the system, however.
Any other questions?
If you get the state support that you are seeking for developing these national research universities, do you have a timetable prediction how long that might take for
Okay, the question was, if we get funding for national research universities, is there a timetable for how long it will take? I think, 5 to 10 years probably for a university to reach that threshold. Some will get there faster than others. Because, if you look, I go back to the research triangle, UNC Chapel Hill has been a national research university for a very long time. North Carolina State University isn't there, yet it's a fine university with a lot of research dollars. Part of it, too, is if you're talking about, I consider them a national research university. It's not an AAU institution. And part of there are only 62 universities in the country, with 2 of them in Canada, I think, that are AAU institutions. So we're really looking at building something that doesn't have a label. We're calling it national research universities because that seems like an appropriate label. Tier 1 has been used. Dallas Morning News likes Tier 1, so they keep referring to Tier 1 universities. I don't like that term because I'm not sure what that means either. I think the goal is, how do we bring more research dollars to our campus? How do we hire better faculty who will bring grants? How do we get more federal dollars, because Texas is not getting its share of federal dollars? And really, how do we draw attention to Texas? Some of you who are, maybe have been readers for NSF or NIH or NEH proposals, know that you sit around and sometimes people will say, oh, that's from X institution. I don't think they have very much support, or I don't think they're very well known. And it's perception more than anything else that sometimes keeps us from getting the grants that we ought to be getting, all of us. So it's that perception about Texas, that we don't have very many research universities, that everything is run by UT and A&M, and I don't want to take a cent away from those universities. Those universities have to keep growing, be supported, be strong. They are we've got to all move up to that level. And it will take time. Michael?
What sort of investment, so we talk about time, what sort of investment is going to be needed to move UNT, to that next level?
What sort of investment is going to be needed to move to the next level? David Daniels done some really good work. Those of you from UT Dallas have probably seen his papers. I mean, he's talking about, if we look at our three universities, just how much less per student we get. And he's talking about $240 million or something it would take to move the per student cost up for three universities, I think. I mean, we're talking big dollars the state does not have this year. So we're not optimistic that we're going to see that huge investment this year. But we need to get about establishing a framework, and at a time, quite honestly, when other universities are struggling around the country, to have a Chronicle of Higher Education article about Texas invests in higher education will do wonders for all of us for recruiting. Because people will say, oh, we ought to go to Texas. They've got money for higher education.